Yo, what's up, everybody? Goldie here, and I wanted to go over a couple of things. I consistently get asked about streaming tips and or lighting or camera recommendations, so I figured I would cram it all in one video and give you future streamers or content creators some ideas and some tips. I also do have a Sweetwater page, and I would greatly appreciate it, even if it's just to go look, to go check out the gear that I use, because we're going to be going over some of that in the video. And if you feel like it, use my affiliate link to go buy some strings and stuff. It directly supports me at no extra cost to you. So with that being said, there isn't one correct way to do things. This is just how I do things. And honestly, when I first got into streaming, or making videos, I wanted to streamline it and make it as easy as possible. One where I didn't have to run a DAW because I was running off just some, run-of-the-mill laptop that didn't have a bunch of CPU. Now I have upgraded my system, but I needed to save that CPU, especially with running Streamlabs, which is how I record. I know some people do their stuff on a memory card, but just in my experience, setting up a camera just like you would live streaming and hitting record in Streamlabs is a super convenient and easy way to record videos. I guess the first thing we should cover is camera. There's not one magic brand. There's not one magic lens. Any mirrorless camera is perfectly capable, especially today, for doing what you need it to do. I'd recommend Sony. I personally use Fujifilm because I've been doing photography for 15 years and I just shoot Fuji. That's what all my lenses are for. That's just what I've invested in. Had Sony been as prevalent when I got my Fuji and got familiar with it, I probably would have gotten the Sony A series. I had friends that shot Fuji. I used to shoot Canon back in the day. One of my friends swapped over to Fuji. I liked it. I went with it. So yeah, any Canon, Fuji, the Sony A series, they're all great. What matters the most to me personally, in my personal experience, like, yeah, you could get, certain cameras have better sensors and stuff. We're not going to go that deep. You can get a good quality picture even on an iPhone. What matters the most is your lighting and lens selection. If you are going to go the mirrorless route, if you're going to shoot with an iPhone, get some good lighting. That's all you need. So with that being said, I shoot with a 35 millimeter 1.4. You're going to want a lens with a lower aperture for lower light situations. Also, that shallow depth of field, which gives you this nice blurred background, or as us photographers like to call it, bokeh, or which translates to, I think, balls of light in Japanese. I'm not sure. Don't fact check me on that, but I'm pretty sure. Anyways, lighting and lens selection is going to be the most important thing in your whole setup. The lighting setup I usually run is I have my key light, which you can see. You can see key light, 45 degrees. Most cinematic films and, lighting situations follow this kind of rule. You have your key light on one side, camera on the other. You don't want your camera and your key light on the same side. Your key light is going to be the main light that lights the subject. I also do, because I'm kind of at a harsh angle, have a secondary light on the other side, a much softer light just to brighten up this side of my face a little bit. Not necessary if I could move my key light over more. But yeah, key light, 45-degree angle. And then I do use, just coming from photography, I do use some sort of backing light. I always try to keep some contrast. And by contrast, I mean having my background darker than me. You don't want a bunch of light spillage. You want separation in between the subject and the background. So now that we've somewhat covered at least lighting setup a little bit. I don't know how in depth I can go on this video because I could sit here and talk about this stuff all day. And of course, if any of you guys have any questions, you can always reach out in the comments or message me. So now let's get into the audio. This is for sure another big one that I get asked a lot because I do have good audio quality in my live streams, especially since I'm not using a DAW. All of that comes from the Rodecaster Pro 2. Even when I got this and I was listening to the backing tracks, I was hearing things in songs that I didn't even realize were there beforehand. This thing has amazing preamps and just audio processing in general. What's amazing about this Rodecaster Pro 2 is everything you can do with it. From the onboard vocal processing, there's a ton of options there. Having my guitar plugged into it, having my backing track play through the Bluetooth on my phone so I can save all that processing power on my CPU and not have to use a DAW and dedicate all that CPU straight to streaming and video quality. You've got onboard sound effects that you can import MP3s, make your own sound effects. It's got a MIDI pad. There's a whole bunch of stuff that you can do with this thing, and that deserves its own video in its own right. And honestly, I've had it for a year, and I don't even know half of everything that this thing is capable of. By far, probably the best investment, aside from my camera, which I already had due to photography, but probably, honestly, the best investment I've made as far as for my stream. Up next for guitar tones and everything, I use a Helix. I've been bouncing back and forth between the Quad Cortex. I really want to get my hands on the Quad Cortex, but I absolutely love the Helix, and it's treated me really well so far, and it's a ton of fun to create your own presets on, and it sounds great. I think all of the top modelers like Axe FX, Helix, Quad Cortex, Kemper, I think they're all amazing. And I think if you can build tones, you can build great tones on any of them. But yeah, I use the Helix LT. That goes straight into my Rodecaster. As far as mic goes, the Shure MV7. It's like the little brother to the SM7B. I'm not doing any vocals. I'm not recording any guitars or drums or anything like that. No cabinets. I don't even have an amp right now, honestly. So the MV7 just made sense for me. It sounds great, especially with the Rodecaster. So this is a pretty easy setup because the Rodecaster is acting as an interface / mixer. So you can adjust the faders and adjust your levels yourself. And so it really is the perfect stream companion. So it's hard to go into detail about every single one of these things in a 15-minute video. But please feel free to ask any questions. And like I said, guys, if you have any questions about the specific gear, I will link in the description my Sweetwater affiliate page. And you can check out my gear recommendations and everything that I use, aside from the camera, of course, which Sweetwater does sell cameras. I hadn't checked them out, but I'm sure they're great. Thank you guys for watching. And if you would, hit that subscribe button. Like the video, comment, share it out, and I hope you guys have learned something from this. I've never been the best at explaining things, but I get this question a lot, so it was something that was constant. So until next time, guys, I appreciate it. Peace.